So today I'm going to show you how to make a delicious, savory, tasty vegan gravy. Okay, so if you are whole food plant-based, one recipe that you need to get down, you need under your belt is a gravy, because it's all about the sauces, I think, for vegan and whole food plant-based cookery. We need to make our food super, super tasty. So if you're thinking about mashed potato, maybe bangers and mash with vegan sausages and mash, or a collie mash, or when we get to holiday meals, we need to have a delicious gravy. And that is what I'm going to show you how to make right now. Let's get started. Okay, so pretty simple ingredients for our delicious savory gravy. We have some vegan butter. I have about 2 tablespoons of vegan butter. I have 2 tablespoons of tapioca starch. You could use organic cornstarch. I prefer tapioca starch. Put the links underneath the video for that. I have 1 small onion, very finely chopped. I have 1 tablespoon of tamari, which is gluten-free soy sauce. I have some vegan Worcester sauce. I have the secret weapon, which is poultry seasoning. And then I have some veggie stock that I made out of bouillon cubes. And there's an optional ingredient here, which is I soaked some dried porcini mushrooms. I know, very fancy sounding, but I'm going to use some of the juice, the soaking juice, just to give this gravy some extra flavor. Now, I'm also using a new pan that I've got that I'm very excited about. If you haven't seen it already, check out my other video, a sauce video, where I'm making a bechamel sauce, and I'm using this pan. It's by 360, and it's their new Saucier pan, and we have a special offer, which I'll put in the description below the video, or they're offering us a special offer on this pan. But most importantly, if you don't use this pan, try to use a stainless steel pan for your sauces, not a non-stick pan. Really important. This kind of stainless steel is going to be the most healthy. And this pan is actually really good because it's a Saucier pan, because it's got these rounded edges. So if you're using a whisk or a wooden spoon, sort of nothing gets caught in it. I guess that's why it's called a Saucier pan. Okay, so let's get going. So I'm going to pop the heat on about medium, and into my Saucier pan, I'm going to put in the vegan spread, and I'll put a link underneath the video to the actual spread that I'm using. And I will say that a pan, I think, for me, is such a good investment. All my pans that I have, whatever brand it is, I've very, very carefully invested in them over the last, actually, 20 years. It's going to be my 20th wedding anniversary. And I now have a collection of pans that I'm so happy with, and I use them almost every single day because I cook a lot. So utensils, like this wooden spoon is another kind of like this. I think I probably had this for 30 years. It's got burns in it, and all those utensils and pans and things, you've got to have ones that you love. All right, so let's pop in the onion. And then with the onion, I'm just going to sweat the onion. So what you don't want to do for this gravy is brown the onion or sort of, really fry it. The idea is, it's probably going to take about 2 minutes here, is that it's just translucent. You want to soften them. Oh my gosh, I don't think I can live without this pan now. There's something about the swirling motion. I literally feel like I'm on Top Chef at this point in time, because it's pretty cool. So we'll just let those soften. It's going to happen very, very, very quickly in this pan. Because the other thing about this kind of stainless steel is that it's a really good conductor of heat. And the handles don't get hot, which is a mistake I have made in the past with some pans, even, I have to say, ones that I've spent quite a lot of money on and got for a wedding gift. I couldn't believe it that when the handle heats up and you have to have like a separate sleeve for the, ooh, my onion's falling out, for the handle. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my seasoning at this point when it's a little too high to heat. So I'm going to add my poultry seasoning, and poultry seasoning is the key for a vegan gravy because it's going to give it, it's going to make it taste like a kind of non-vegan gravy, so you can wow all of your carnivore friends. So I'm using about a teaspoon, a good teaspoon in there, and just sweating those beautiful herbs with the onion already makes me smell gravy, and it's just so lovely. You always want to try and use your herbs and spices at this point of cooking because then the flavors are released. You never want to sort of throw them in at the end. Well, you can, I guess, if you've missed it. It's not the end of the world, but this is how these beautiful flavors are released, particularly with dried herbs and spices. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my tamari sauce. I'm using a low sodium one there. And now it's nice because it gives it a little bit of a brown color that you want for your gravy. And then I'm going to add my Worcester sauce. This is by Annie's. There's a couple, I think, of different brands of vegan. Only a couple, actually, not that many. I'm obsessed with Worcester sauce, vegan Worcester sauce. Obsessed. There's about a tablespoon in there. Oh, I've come to the end. I was raised in England with Worcester sauce. It was like a kind of staple. You couldn't really have a meal without Worcester sauce. So now in my plant-based cooking, because I am plant-based, I am just so grateful that they have a vegan version. So that's looking really great there. Now, the next thing I'm going to do, and it smells amazing, is that I'm adding some veggie broth here. And as I say, I make it with veggie bouillon cubes because it's a big money saver. If you buy the boxes of broth, it gets very, very expensive, and there's absolutely no reason to when you can make your own. This cost about 20 cents to make. So I'm going to add there'll be about 2 to 3 cups when I'm finished. But then I want to thicken my gravy now, so I'm popping in 1 tablespoon of the tapioca starch. And I know that some of you will say, where do I get that from, or whatever, so I will put a link to the brand that I'm using here, but you should be able to get it at most places. It's not hard to find. Gosh, I'm just remembering when my mum taught me to make gravy back in the day, and she really was and is a really good cook. They would use gravy browning. And it was just normal. You would stick in all of this like dye, basically, this thick, goopy brown dye to make. I gotta tell my mom about that. What was she even thinking about? Okay, now I'm putting in some salt and pepper. And again, you pop in as much as you want. You season according to your taste. And then finally, as I'm waiting for this to thicken, I just want to show you how I'm going to use, I took about a handful of dried porcini mushrooms. You could use a mixed dried mushroom. I'll put a link underneath because you can easily get them online. And I poured boiling water that was just off the boil over them here, and they've been soaking for a couple of hours, and you can see it's this really rich soaking juice. And if you can be bothered to do that, it will absolutely take your gravy up to a whole new level. You could also, if you wanted to, blend, put the soaked mushrooms in a blender and add them to your gravy. But I'm not going to do that because I just don't want those little bits in my gravy. But don't waste those mushrooms because they're beautiful, those soaked mushrooms. You could use them, in a pasta dish or lots and lots of different dishes. You could chop them up really finely and pop them in even a veggie chili. And mushrooms being so healthy. But for this particular gravy, it's just for the flavor. Okay, it is done. It's exactly the right amount of thickness. Now, you could always pop it into a blender or use an immersion blender if you want to take out the little onion pieces in it. Some people prefer that. They just want a smooth gravy. I actually like the little pieces in mine. And now you are ready to pour it over whatever dish you want, your mashed potatoes or your vegan sausages or whatever. It's just going to make any dish taste so much better. Your vegan pot pie, I can think of so many delicious dishes that this is going to work with. I hope you love the look of that gravy. I wish it was taste-o-vision or smell-o-vision because my whole kitchen smells so good. And honestly, you will just wow all of your guests that come, and particularly those who are meat eaters, who are a little bit skeptical. Pour some of this gravy on that whole food, plant-based food, and they will be blown away. Give it a try. Let me know in the comments below this video what you think. And also, I'm really interested if you have any customizations. Maybe you've got some ideas that some in my community need to know about, some little tweaks and additions and hacks. So let me know, and I'll see you next time. If you enjoyed this video and don't want to miss any of my upcoming videos, please subscribe and make sure you click on the bell icon next door to the subscription box so you'll be notified as soon as a video goes live. Also, make sure you turn on the notifications for YouTube on your phone.